Part D. Ali also owns a clothing company. From past experience, he knows that 29% of people who come into his store buy at least one item of clothing. He starts selling a new brand of clothing and notices that during the following week, 35% of people buy at least one item. He carries out a test on this data on the following hypotheses, where theta is the proportion of people who buy at least one item of clothing. So H0 is that theta is 0.29 and H1 is that theta is greater than 0.29. So state the fundamental error in Ali's statistical test and explain what he should have done, including appropriate hypotheses. Okay, this is a very awkward little question. But basically, you're not supposed to create your hypotheses after you see what's happening in the data change. So he was observing that his sales had gone up before he wrote his hypotheses. Okay, so you should form, or I'll say you shouldn't form hypotheses after seeing the data change. Okay, so the hypotheses should be formed independently from the data or before the data sample has been taken. Okay. Let's say should have made hypotheses about his increase in sales, etc., before the data was collected or known. And in that case, if he thinks that it was originally 0.29 and he's starting to sell a new brand of clothing and he doesn't know what difference it's going to make, then maybe his H1 should be not equal to 0.29. So has it changed? This new brand of clothing isn't necessarily going to cause an increase. It might cause a decrease. People might not like it. Okay, so you don't want to assume it's going to be an increase. Whereas Bethan, in the earlier part of the question, if she's advertising, then it's reasonable to assume that it's not going to decrease her sales, but it could potentially increase them. Okay, here in part D, it's that the new brand of clothing might cause a decrease or it might cause an increase. And if we're making the hypotheses before we collect our data, we don't know what direction that change is going to happen in. Therefore, we'll use a not equal to in H1. But it is a weird little question.